And so the Sabbath, God's rest, is a resistance to the anxiety that drives you and me to see others merely as threats or competitors. Sabbath is an act of a resistance to that feeling you and I have inside that makes us want to do more and more and more and more and more. So resting in God's rest is an alternative to all of the worry that you carry. And so to that feeling, if you've had it like me, Jesus says, oh, you need proof? Oh, is it proof that you want? Cool. Do you need assurance that God has you covered so that you don't have to worry about your survival? If that's the case, Jesus says, look at the birds and look at the flowers. The birds and the flowers are your proof. Look at them, Jesus says, and remind yourself. Because, my friends, every single time creation does its thing, it is a reminder that God is still present, that God is still active, and that God is still for you. Every time we lift our eyes from our devices and look out the window, it's a reminder that God has your life under His care. So then, to rest in God's care is again an act of resistance, an alternative to the broken ways that humanity has organized itself. A breaking of that cycle of worry that says, oh, you better look after yourself, you'd better make yourself survive through this. And so to all of that, Jesus invites His disciples, both then and now, out of the anxiety system by saying, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
If you have a practice of Sabbath already, a day where you cease, think about what you do on that day. Are any of your activities anxiety producing? That's probably an indication that you need to cease from them on that day. Maybe move them to a different day. If you don't have a day set aside where you practice Sabbath, start planning for it. Now, a whole day might be a tall order if this is new to you, so maybe you start by setting aside a morning or a couple of hours to practice Sabbath, and then you build on that. Let's imagine what that might look like. Maybe you've been practicing Sabbath for a long time, but you're still responsible for some things that cause anxiety, like maybe feeding your family. Maybe what you need to do is simplify. Perhaps you need to cease from the anxiety of getting all healthy food in your kids. Maybe you have something like pancakes or nachos for dinner, something your kids love that no one is going to argue about and that is really easy to prepare. If you make it a weekly tradition, it might even be something that everybody looks forward to. And if it's not too anxiety-inducing, include your kids and your partner in helping you. I know for me, one of the things that I find anxiety-inducing is that my kids don't clean the kitchen the way I would clean it. But maybe one day of the week, kid-level clean is good enough. Or if grocery shopping or cleaning the house or yard work produce anxiety in you, it's not a Sabbath activity. We have to think these things through. For instance, sometimes putzing in the garden is super relaxing. By all means, then, do it on your Sabbath. But I would argue that shopping on Sabbath might be something to consider moving to another day, even if you don't find it stressful, simply because it's a way of engaging the cycle of production. Shopping isn't bad, we have to do it, but it's probably just not something that we need to do on our Sabbath day. If getting your 5K run or 10,000 steps is anxiety producing, tap out. Maybe just put the Fitbit or the Apple Watch on the counter and go for a hike with your family, or just meander instead. I would suggest you refrain from checking your email, scrolling through the news, or social media. avoid the doom scroll. Free yourself from the heavy weight of COVID news and pictures of people who haven't gained 10 pounds eating chips over isolation. Scrolling is not restful, it is anxiety inducing. In fact, it might be a good idea to cease from screen time on Sabbath altogether, unless it's intentional, like watching a movie with your family. And again, this might be a tall order for those of us who are connected to our phones like another appendage. So maybe you start with an hour or a mealtime and then a morning, and then you just build on it. Last suggestion. If kids' activities produce anxiety in your kids or in you, don't do them on Sabbath. Don't use your Sabbath to run to hockey or gymnastics if it means everyone in the house is in a terrible mood. And this one is for me, don't use Sabbath to nag your kids to do chores. Sabbath is a great way to teach your kids that they don't have to be the best or brightest or do all the things. They are loved no matter what. Teach them what it means to really rest. And that will require that you yourself learn what it means to really rest too.